Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I am really excited about bringing you this beer that I'm going to talk to you about to the channel. Now, anybody that watches me, just excuse the mess here. This is beer reviewing. The glasses need taking up and cleaning. Janie's just popped out this Ballycastle to get rid of the taste of another beer I'm going to talk to you about. But anyway, it just brings me massive pleasure to bring you this beer, simply because I always talk about craft beer on this channel. I always talk, it's very rare that I do just a traditional ale or any of the sort of the mainstream stuff, apart from Everard's Brewery, because it's my local brewery. But I'm always sourcing out like Trappist beer, German beers, a lot of high-end stouts, imperial stouts, all sorts of different beers to bring into this channel. But Christmas, what do you buy me for Christmas? Right, it's like I'm nearly 54 years old. What do I need? I don't really need a lot. How do you buy me anything for Christmas? Well, my stepson Matthew, bless him, he knows what to buy me for Christmas: beer. So what he did was he did a search and he found some beer, and he got me a 3-pack. It came in a nice presentation box, and it was from the Panther Brewery over in Norfolk. I'd never heard of this brewery before. Anyway, these beers came in this little selection box, and anyway, I trotted off round my mum and dad's and took a few beers with me. They're only round the corner, and my dad says to me, "Do you want a beer?" I said, "Yeah, I've got one in the I've just put on the side. Can you?" He went, "I'll pour it for you." I went, "Oh, just make sure you do it quite aggressively. I want a bit of a head on it or whatever." Anyway, he came trotting back into the room, and he says to me, "Son," he went, "I'm a little bit worried about that. Is this beer okay?" So I'm like, "Why?" He went, "There's all bits come out of it. They're all," and I was like, "Really?" Like, "Yeah, it's all got bits floating about it." I was like, boom! It's a bottle conditioned beer, Dad. Like, I don't think he really realised that it was a bottle conditioned beer. You know, my dad's in his sort of like late 70s, and he is, you know, he likes his beers and things. He's not been able to drink for a while. But anyway, so I was absolutely overwhelmed with the fact that I got a 4.1% beer, and it was a bottle conditioned beer, and literally he said there was lumps coming out of it. Well, he hadn't done the old swirl round with a bottle conditioned beer, had he? He just poured it in. So it was literally, there was like rocks in there, you know what I mean? And I was like a kid in a sweet shop. My dad, being old school, was like, "You got this cloudy beer, son. Is it all right? Is it in date?" I'm like, "Oh, Dad, seriously, you don't know what a cloudy beer, like these bottle conditioned beers." You get a lot of YouTubers, a lot of comments, if they've not watched the full video, saying, "It's a bottle conditioned beer. You shouldn't have really poured it in," and all this. Well, you must have missed the bit where we say we like to swirl all that yeasty goodness or whatever it is in there and pour it in. So yeah, I was over the moon. Well, I drank this beer, and I've got to tell you, it absolutely blew me away. It really did. And it blew me away for the fact of what it is. You know, it's not a dipper. It's not like a complete and utter full fat juicy IPA. It is, in fact, a real ale with bite from Panther. And it is a red best bitter coming in at 4.1%. So the thing is, what you've got to consider here, what you've got to take from this, right, okay, is that this is a best bitter. It's 4.1%. It's a real ale, and it's bottle conditioned. It's unfiltered, unpasteurised, and I know that now. And now I'm going to tell you from the heart now, this one that I'm reviewing now is my third, right? So I've had 2 of these already. And the reason being is because of the day that I had this, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. You know, I mean, Janie had a sip of it and she said, "Oh, it seems quite thin in the mouthfeel and everything." Yeah, you know, but it's a 4.1% best bitter. It's a red best bitter. You've got to take it for what it is, right? But let me just tell you, at 4.1%, this thing is growling at me. This is the Panther. This is with bite. This is packing some punch, and I'm going to talk to you about this right now. Now, normally, I will be getting a really nice, super clean glass out to pour this beer in, right? Look at this glass. Can you see around the edge in there? Look at that, right? Now, I'll tell you for why. This is my tap and barrel jug, because this has had 2 bottles of this in this already. Now, we're old school. Now, yes, I may be talking to you about craft beers, and I may be bringing Imperial Stouts. I might be bringing that Bourbon County Stout to you, one of the best stouts in the world. I may be bringing that to you. But as a real ale drinker, going back to my roots, we always used to say, you don't want a clean glass between beers, right? Keep your glass. If you went to a beer festival, right, we'd have a glass. And there's all washing stations, and you can have a drink of water and things like that. But we would like drink the beer, like that, keep this bit in the glass, go and get it filled up. And we'd always sort of say one beer just adds a little bit to the rest. We were all about the mix, weren't we, as well, when we were years ago. You know, you'd have a man's brown and a mild, you know, I'll have a, what would you have, a mild and a bitter mixed together, things like that. As a real ale drinker, if you was drinking, and especially drinking the same beer, you would never have a clean glass each time. Whereas with me, I'll have one style of beer, put it to the side, get a clean glass out to have another style of beer, you know, that way. But I've been drinking this beer, I've had 2 of these, and this is going to be the 3rd, and it's going in the glass that's already had 2 of these in. Now, honestly, Matthew, my stepson, bless him, he didn't realise what he was getting me here. He didn't realise that he was giving me the chance to My good God. I've just looked over. Anybody that's seen me doing the video with Jesse from Frank's Jailhouse Pub Shed would have known that I recorded for about 35 minutes with him, but I hadn't pressed the record button. I've got this mic on here, and it's connected to my phone, and there's a blue light on there that doesn't blink, and that tells me it's connected. I was just looking at the phone talking to you guys, and I couldn't see the blue light. But what I'd done is I'd put it in the other way around, so the blue light was away from me. So I've just had to stop to make sure, because I just thought that whole introduction to that video that's 8 minutes long, I couldn't do it again. It was unrehearsed. It was off the cuff. And when you try and do something again, when it's unrehearsed, it just ain't the same. Anyway, I've popped the lid off this. Now, I've had this beer. I've had this is the 3rd one, right? So I had one that was straight out of the carport. So it's like cold, you know, it was quite cold, and I thought, nah, needs to be a little bit warmer. So the second one I had, I brought in here, and I left it on the side for a bit, and I thought, yeah, that is better. So I went and pre-fetched this one, and this has been out here, and we are at 19 degrees in there. I've got it nice and warm in here. This has been out for about half an hour. It's still cold, but it is sort of like just warmed up a little bit to the sort of temperature I would expect one of these ales to be. Now, let me just tell you something now, right? This beer is what we call, in the game, alive, right? Okay. This has probably got the most sediment in any bottle conditioned beer that I've ever seen. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to share this with you, because even though I'm swilling that round and mixing it all up, and I will get it in, and I mean, look at that colour of that, right, that comes out of there. Look how cloudy. If I was to pour an old school drink, look at the bits coming out of that. If I was to pour an old school drinker this beer, now when I'm talking about old school drinker, I'm talking about me, right? If you was to pour me this beer in the pub and present it to me like this, all cloudy and sort of like off, like a bit like muddy, murky looking, I'd hold it up to the light, I'd be like, excuse me mate, I think that's off. Now, nah, not a chance. If I went into a pub now and I had somebody pour me a beer and it was a bit cloudy, I won't even get, if I knew, say for instance, I had an old original here, right? I know that's a clear beer. So if it was cloudy, I wouldn't dismiss it until I'd tasted it. It'll be all about the aroma and the flavour, because barrels can get knocked in the cellar, which can upset the sediment. This was Simon from the Real Ale Craft Beer channel that mentioned that, and I thought, you know what, you are dead right, mate. You are absolutely right. It can do that. You know, barrels that settle, they get knocked, rocked about. There's nothing wrong with the beer. But we all love now, most of the drinkers that I watch, and most of the beer reviewers I watch, and all my friends out there that are doing beer reviewing that I've got to know and I chat to, we all love to swill that bottle around and get it in. Now this, I kid you not, right? Honestly, looking underneath there, it looks mouldy. It looks like there's bits of mould underneath, but I tell you what, it all mixes in at the end. This beer is so nice, and then when you get to the bottom of it, it literally, you mix it all in, and the flavour from a 4.1% best bitter is phenomenal. Right, so let's not mess about. I wish you could have a look. Do you know what? I'm going to take the camera off and show you this. Right, I always say, if I get a beer poured out on a hand pull in a pub and it's fresh, I'll always go, look at that. That's a nice, lively, fresh head. It's going on. It's still living, right? Okay, I'm going to show you it now. Right, okay, I hope you can see that. So, look at that head. It looks alive. This is my description of it. You know, it looks like it is still brewing itself, you know. So, yeah, so when you have these beers that are unfiltered, unpasteurised, and they've still got some of the live yeast in there and the sediment and things like that, they are bottle conditioned. They are sort of like, they are still developing in the bottle, which is absolutely, it's wonderful. So anyway, now on the nose with this beer, I feel like I'm a little bit of a professional with this beer because I've drank 3 of them now, 2 of them. It's really malty. Lovely malty smell, toasty, roasty, nutty. It's caramelly. It's everything about a beer that I love. When I say roasty, I think because I said toasty, just toasty, roasty. It's not roasty really, to be quite honest with you. Like, I don't know where it's just come off the tongue, that has. It's like slightly it is. It's toasty in the fact that like you're getting like a bit of bitterness from that toasty sort of like and that toasty malty type of bready sort of taste. It's nutty. There's a caramel in there. You know, one thing I love about this beer. What I love about this beer is the clean finish to it. It's hoppy as well. It's absolutely incredible. It's just not all about the malts. There's a lovely hop balance in there as well. There's a freshness about it. There's a cleanness about it. It is, quite frankly, one of the best bitter. I mean, I love Everard's Tiger, but this, quite frankly, is the best, in my opinion, the best bitter. I mean, it is a red best bitter, right? It is. But like, it's the best bitter I've ever had in my life. It is absolutely beautiful. Anyway, cheers everybody. I'm going in for my 3rd bottle of this. Wonderful. Oh, it is just so moorish and nice. It has got the mouthfeel is quite it's deceiving really, because it is a sort of like, it's not a full-bodied beer. It's not. It's a refreshing, hoppy bit of beer. It's got like some lovely, fresh, clean hoppiness about it. You know, you can't really pick out the hops. The hops are not forward. They're not. You can smell a freshness in there amongst all the malts. You know, the malts is giving you all that moorishness. That nutty, caramelly, toasty, moorish, give you a hug type of like loveliness about it. I'm looking at this beer and it just looks beautiful to look at. The head is just broken up slightly. It's just living. You know what I mean? It's like it's beautiful. It's just exactly what I want to see in an ale. You know, it's just fantastic. It excites me. But the hops are there, just giving it some clean freshness without compromising the red bitterness about it. You know, it's just not. They're there, but they're not. They don't want centre stage. You know what I mean? They're doing their job. And the funny thing about it on here, it's got 4 hops. Like the hop profile has got 4, and the malt profile has got 4. So it's like an equal share of the hops and the malts. It's absolutely frigging fantastic. But I would imagine that the hops that they're using in here, they're not sort of like, say, fruity forward, citrus. They're not citrusy forward. They're not giving you any kind of them type of flavour. I'd love to know what hops are in here. There's probably something like Goldings or something like that. You know, to add to the decadent to this beer. But just going back to the mouthfeel, you know, it almost appears, if you chuck it down your neck, it almost appears a little bit thin, but it's sort of not, because what it does then is it just ignites you with all these flavours, and it just leaves you with all these flavours. It's not overly bitter neither. It's just completely perfectly. It's for a best bitter. It's completely perfect in my opinion, and that's one of the reasons why I had 3 beers from the Panther Brewery, and I think they call it the Panther Brewery because it's based on a panther that apparently has been seen around the Norfolk area. It's a microbrewery. It's an award-winning microbrewery. They've got a really good website. Their delivery is fantastic. Very fast delivery. It was £37. And like I say, I had 3 different beers, and all 3 were really nice. But this one really stood out to me. It really stood out. And I ordered the case of 12. So that's 12 beers with delivery, £37. Is that a reasonable cost?
37 divided by 12 is approximately 3.0833.
Okay, so arguably, you could sort of say it's just over. Okay, right, Alexa, thank you. It's just over £3 a bottle. So you could almost like argue that, like, well, you know, I can get other bitters at Morrison's for the 4 for 3, or at Sainsbury's or whatever, for a cheaper price, but bottle conditioned, microbrewery, using the malts that are in here, and the hops and the quality that this beer is giving you. You know, I'd rather just pay that little bit more, but that includes delivery, don't forget. And I'm sure if you spent a whole lot more money with them, you'd probably get free delivery. But, you know, to pay £3 a bottle for that is, for me, no problem at all. It is absolutely beautiful. As soon as you put it up to your mouth, you get all them really nutty, caramelly sort of like noses, but you also get a freshness from it as well. I can't quite describe the freshness that comes from this beer. It's clean, but it's moorish. It's an experience, you know. It's an experience, and that's what beer should be about. You know, I've drank best bitters that are just, yeah, they're all right. You're like, yeah, that's okay, that's all right, yeah, it's not too bad. It is what it is. It's the best bitter. But this is like a premium best bitter. This is a premium ale. This is something a bit special. But what you've got as well is, as you get down this beer, I mean, honestly, the bottom of this glass looks like it looks like it needs a dustpan and brush to it, because there's so much. Can you see it? I don't want to tip this beer. Look at that, right? Now that ain't carbonation bubbles sticking on the bottom of that glass, although it appears like it. it looks like it is, but I kid you not, that, oh, balls, I've just like spilt it everywhere. That, look at it, look at that. That combination bubbles. That is the beautiful crap and shit that's unfiltered and has gone into this beer. And you know what? Right. When you get down to the bottom and swirl that in, I will show you. I will show you. It's almost like you just want to get to the bottom to enjoy that. I can't believe how long my videos are. I watch a beer review that's 10 minutes long, and then I do a beer review, and it's 20-25 minutes long. And I talk fast as well. But, you know, you can fast forward it. You can put it in twice the speed, so you can have me talking really fast like that. But I just get so excited. I get so excited for two reasons. One, because I found a fantastic beer, and that's one of the reasons I bought 12 of them, because I just thought, it's so good, I'd love to just session it for the night. And each time I put a beer in this glass, with the remnants of the last one, it gets better and better and better. But also, I just want to shout about, this is what the Spencer Arms are all about, finding an independent brewery like this and shouting about them. And then they do loads of beers, and they're all brewed in a really unique traditional way. I think they're all unfiltered, all unpasteurized, absolutely fantastic. So I'm so grateful that I discovered this brewery. I mean, I can't even say that the sort of thinnish mouthfeel is a negative. It's not. It's because it's got that cleanness about it. It's not really designed to be like a really like full-on, full-bodied beer. It's a best bitter. It's an easy drinker. So this has got that cleanliness of an easy drinking lager with all the moorishness of just a full-on flavoured beer. It's amazing. I love it. Personally, I love it. So if you look now, I've swilled all that round. It's all gone, look, at the bottom. It's all mixed up. There's a few little bits in there. Now look at the colour of that. Look at how that's changed a little bit. It's got a little bit more caramelly looking, hasn't it? It's still got a bit of head retention there. I know I'm aggravating it. But the caramel, sort of the caramel and nutty, hoppy smell on that is beautiful. It is just such a it's got the slightest bitterness about it, but the caramel and the toasty, nutty flavours all together, blending together so well. There's nothing really flying out at you. It's all just together. It's just really beautiful. A 4.1% red, best bitter, real ale with bite. Deliciously clean and toasty, with nutty caramel undertones and a crisp, hoppy finish. It really is exactly that. Right, clean and nutty with a toasty caramel flavour and a pleasant hop finish. Panther Red Best Bitter is made from 100% natural ingredients. That is a thumbs up. And is brewed unfiltered and unpasteurised. Inhabitants of the small Norfolk town claim to have seen a large panther-like cat prowling and secretly stalking the countryside. This handcrafted ale is dedicated to this beautiful animal. So there you go. For me, that is an outright 100% 10 out of 10 Speno approved beer. Honestly, fantastic. And I'm sorry it took 27 minutes to tell you that. So the Panther Brewery, great delivery, fantastic communication. I was actually texting, I think it was Martin there the other day, and a fantastic beer. And I'm looking forward to ordering a mixed case of all their beers. Try every single one of their beers. Absolutely fantastic. Give them a shout. Follow them on Instagram. Go and buy their beers. Buy this one. You will not be disappointed. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all the likes and the comments. Keep them coming. And yeah, much love, Speno.